Imagine, it's 1232 AD, Korea, a palace on fire. Smoke swallows the hallways, the heat bites your skin even from 50 feet away. In the middle of all that chaos, a general stands perfectly still. No sword, no shield, just a folded piece of paper. He waves it once, twice, and somehow, impossibly, the fire shifts direction. His army survived. You've probably held something like that piece of paper before, at a wedding, a barbecue, a waiting room. You waved it at your face, felt a breath of relief, and forgot it. But that small, silent object quietly shaped trade routes, built empires, directed armies, and brushed against the beginnings of modern medicine. So why has nobody told you this? For most of history, staying cool wasn't a matter of comfort, it was survival. The oldest confirmed fans come from ancient Egypt around 3000 BC. They weren't handheld trinkets, they were royal instruments, enormous fans of ostrich feathers mounted on golden poles, waved by servants to cool the pharaoh, not to cool themselves, to cool someone else. That single detail tells you everything about Egyptian society. The fan wasn't a household item, it was a halo of authority, a moving ring of air around divinity. But Egypt fell, and the fan drifted east, to China. The Chinese didn't just adopt the fan, they reinvented it. By 200 BC, artisans were crafting elegant versions from bamboo and silk, light, beautiful, and far more democratic than Egypt's golden feathers. Then, around AD 965, during the Song dynasty, came a world-changing innovation, the folding fan. These weren't just decorative. Imperial officials were required to carry them, not as fashion, but as communication. Every flick, every angle, every speed sent messages within a shared code of gestures, a conversation in plain sight, invisible to the untrained eye. When the fan reached Japan around AD 600, it became something new, a weapon. The tesson, the iron fan, looked ordinary, but hid metal ribs strong enough to block blades or deliver a knockout strike. Another variety, the gunbai, directed troops across battlefields. A general would wave left, soldiers moved left. Wave right, they held position. That tradition reached the Korean general in our opening scene, the man who survived a palace fire, not through magic, but through mastery of movement and air. The fan wasn't a spell, it was strategy made visible. Europe didn't invent the folding fan. The Islamic world carried it west. During the Golden Age, between AD 800 and 1200, Arab and Persian artisans merged design with geometry and calligraphy, turning fans into portable art. Their trade routes carried the idea to Europe and changed it again. By the mid-1500s, Portuguese sailors brought fans home from Asia, and within decades, every noble woman in France, Spain, and England wanted one. Soon, the language of the fan swept through court life. Right cheek, yes. Left cheek, no. Dropped to the floor, talk to me. In candlelit ballrooms, whispers traveled on fluttering paper. Alliances formed through tiny movements of the wrist. Then came the crash. By the 1720s, French fan-making guilds collapsed under cheap factory imitation. The master craftsmanship, bone carving, silk stretching, precision folding disappeared almost overnight. Workers lost livelihoods, and a 3,000-year-old art hollowed itself out. Yet the fan story wasn't over. In 1673, French physician Melchizedek Thévenot, a scientist connected to the same circles as Huygens and Pascal, published a radical claim. Moving air, even from a fan, could slow the spread of disease in enclosed spaces. He had watched plague tear through cramped French cities and saw the pattern clearly. Rooms with better air circulation had fewer deaths. He wrote, pleaded, and proved, and was ignored. Medicine at the time blamed bad smells, not air. Thévenot died forgotten.
a man who was right centuries too early. Modern epidemiology would later confirm exactly what he saw. Airflow mattered. 2 centuries later, in 1879, British manufacturer Samuel Hawthorne patented the first mechanized fan production system. What once took a craftsman a week could now be done by a factory in minutes. For the first time, fans became affordable for everyone. But mass production came with its own cruelty. Factories filled with underpaid women and children, working exhausting hours to create the very comfort they rarely enjoyed. Progress always exhales warm and cold air at once. Jump to 2020, empty streets, covered faces, and once again everyone thinking about air, open windows, air purifiers, ventilation. The world had finally learned what Thevenot begged others to understand 350 years earlier, because that instinct to move air when danger looms has never left us. Whether it's a royal servant with ostrich feathers, a samurai with an iron fan, or a nurse adjusting a bedside vent, it's the same gesture, the same fight for breath. The big picture. A simple fan, bamboo and silk, paper and metal, guided the social codes of China, carried secret messages across Europe, redirected armies, and whispered scientific truth before science had a name for it. And eventually it brought comfort into the hands of ordinary people for the first time in history. So the next time you feel a breeze, from a window, a ceiling fan, or a passing gust, remember, you're feeling the echo of a 5,000-year quest to survive the heat, the plague, and everything in between. Because history isn't just written in stones and swords. Sometimes it unfolds in paper and wind. Thanks for exploring with me. I'm Ethan Cole, and this is Everyday Origins. If stories like this make the world feel a little more alive, subscribe and stay with us. Next, we're uncovering the dark history behind something you use before you get out of bed. Until then, history is everywhere.